And we are live for what might be the final time in the NBA season, Game 6 of the NBA Finals, Oklahoma City. Roughly 6-point favorites in Indiana. And we are tipping off in a half hour. I'm Josh Engelman, by the way. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live, and follow me on Twitter at Josh Engelman. We got the news earlier that honestly wasn't really news in any way. Tyrese Haliburton will play today. What that means, we truly don't know. We have no idea how hurt he is. We have no idea to really know how hurt he is. He seems actively hurt. I don't have a clue how much this guy is going to play. I don't know how good he's going to look. If we base it on the last game, I don't think it's going to go great. Who knows? The only thing that I'll put out there right now, 2 days ago, Jeff Stotts in street clothes on Twitter, the guy you want to go to for NBA injury data. Just data. Doesn't know the results of Haliburton's MRI. There were 23 injured calf strains that he has labeled during the NBA season. Only one of those calf strains did not result in any time lost. The quickest turnaround is 3 days. So at best, he could be that particular case, and he's got a shot. I tend to think it's a little bit worse than that, at which point he's in for a world of hurt, because it's not like he just gets some sort of, decent matchup. He's going to have Lou Dort in his jersey the entire time. We're going to know almost immediately how Haliburton is going to look, and that says nothing for the fact that he could re-injure or make it worse throughout the game. But right out of the gate, when we see him with the ball, it's all about the first step, and it's all about the deceleration. If he has it, game on. If he doesn't, I think they're dead. Because I don't know how they will create any offense today. They were a below average offense with Haliburton off the floor this year. And that's against, in theory, aggregate average defense, and not arguably the best we've ever seen. This is going to be a tough one. That said, they're going to let it sail today. Their best bet is to turn this into a high variance game. I expect the Pacers to just let it go. Whether that's Nesmith, Turner, Nem, or the moment they've got to look, they got to be bombing away. Because their best chance today is turning this into a 3-point variance game. But we'll address that in a second. Let's talk through some of the ownership numbers that we're seeing right now. Got about 20% ownership coming into SGA at the captain. 75% overall, 20% at the captain. Very clearly the best overall option if we're talking about raw points. And he's in 20% more of lineups than anybody else. And then you get to a trio. All right around 50% ownership, all right around 12% owned, something in that neighborhood at the captain spot. It's J-Dub, it's Chet, and it's Pascal Siakam. J-Dub being the most expensive guy in that group. Siakam $600 behind him. Chet $2,000 cheaper than J-Dub. Now, I do have a bit of a stand in this range. I have more Chet Holmgren than anybody else that I have, save for SGA. I'm still getting to Jalen Williams right with the field. But I have very little Pascal Siakam. Well under the field, about half the field. He is my biggest fade right now. And I'm totally cool with that. I don't like this game for Siakam for multiple reasons. One, if Haliburton's just okay, then you have Haliburton out there. If Haliburton's not okay, though, I don't think that's a good thing for Pascal Siakam. I don't think he needs more attention because I don't think he's good enough to deal with it without more help. If Pascal Siakam's the best guy you have on the floor, you're not that great of a basketball team. I don't mean that to undersell Pascal Siakam, but we're at the tip of the spear right now. It doesn't get much better than this. He will be miscast in that role, and they will be able to spend a little bit more defensive energy taking him out of it. What I think looks interesting for the Pacers are the non-stars, because someone is going to step into a bigger role, whether that's Nesmith looking for his own, whether that's Nembhard, who will likely take on a significantly bigger chunk of creation duty. That's also not a good sign for the Pacers. What happens if Haliburton really is like cooked, and now Andrew Nembhard has Dort for the rest of the game? Not ideal. Benedict Mathurin, to me, is the most interesting guy from Indy. Not really pulling as much ownership as you would expect at 3,600. For any minutes that we end up losing Haliburton, like, what, you know, this could blow up for Haliburton in 4 minutes, or he could play 32. But every minute he misses is going to go to some combination of McConnell and, to a degree, Mathurin, maybe a little bit of Ben Shepherd. But it seems like Mathurin has the biggest ability to take more on, and at the very least, he is going to bomb away when he's out there. I find him fascinating at 3,600 because there's a lot of upside. But I'm a little surprised he's not pulling slightly more ownership. Similarly, like, Ben Shepherd is essentially unowned. I think he stinks. He's certainly been playing a lot less. But if there are more minutes to go around, there's only so many guys left. I don't think you dust off like Johnny Furphy in Game 6 trying to save your season. So I think there are potential minutes in addition for Ben Shepherd if Haliburton is compromised. McConnell's the really interesting one because I'm sure that everybody wants to have that conversation. He's 5K. He's 40% owned. We kind of know exactly what we're going to get out of him. He's going to have the opportunity to take 1 or 2 completely wide open threes. They will need to fall for you to feel pretty good. He's absolutely going to be doing his dribble penetration stuff. He's absolutely going to be doing his like miss 4-footer jumper stuff. But opportunity will be here. We do need to remember one thing. He's not the kind of guy that's just going to fall into like 29 minutes today. That is mostly impossible for him. We saw it happen in Game 5. He had a great game. Every additional minute he was out there late was not going great for the Pacers, and 2, he was gassed because this dude gives 100% on every single possession that exists. Rick Carlisle talked about it in the post-game press conference that he was gassed. So I don't expect them to like let McConnell rip, because I just don't think there is a let McConnell rip scenario from a playing time perspective. But if Haliburton is compromised, McConnell's going to take on a lot more creation. That's not a good thing for the Indy offense, but it's a good thing if you're rostering TJ McConnell. And right now, TJ McConnell is the second biggest stand that I have today behind Chet Holmgren. Siakam is a star. If you've been a Raptors fan, you know he's him. If he's him, then there's like 20 hims in the NBA. We got to stop like wildly overrating things. I like Pascal Siakam. I don't mean to say it negatively, but if he's him, there's like 1.5 hims on every team. There are guys on this slate today that are really confusing to me, that are kind of the same sort of confusing all the time. Alex Caruso, Miles Turner, Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins. A lot of these guys I just don't have a great feel. He's not the best guy on the Pacers. We need to stop this. This isn't, we can't do this. He's not the best guy on the Pacers. The best guy on the Pacers is Tyrese Haliburton. We don't have to have any revisionist history here. So, I have one guy I want to talk about here. He is by far. I love this chat sometimes. I want to talk about Hartenstein because I think he is super interesting today, especially if Haliburton is this. Oh, hold on, I'm going to pause this. Why didn't Haliburton win Eastern Conference Finals MVP then? All right, by this logic, now you're about to tell me that Jaylen Brown is better than Jason Tatum? Is that what you want to do? That's where we're going to go with this? A random award that means absolutely nothing? Yeah, okay. We'll just stop right here because this is insane. So Hartenstein. The status of Tyrese Haliburton, to me, is massive for whether or not you like Isaiah Hartenstein or dislike Isaiah Hartenstein. Because to me, and we saw it a bit at the beginning of the game, that last game, 2 games ago, can't remember if it was 4 or 5. When Hartenstein is in a bit more of the drop coverage, the Pacers are having a pretty easy time finding the pass. They move so quickly that they do end up getting themselves some sort of open look. By the way, Haliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith, Siakam, and Turner is the starting lineup for Indy. So the drop wasn't really going well for OKC. But if Tyrese Haliburton isn't really Tyrese Haliburton today, if Tyrese Haliburton is playing less, then I think that drop coverage and Isaiah Hartenstein being out there looks massively better than it normally does. Because I don't think, 1, the decisions are getting made as quickly. 2, every one of those decisions is being made by a guy that's a step ahead of where they should be in the hierarchy. So defensively, I think OKC is going to hold up pretty well when Hartenstein, not that they're always holding up well, but I think this plays better for Hartenstein if Haliburton is compromised. So if you are taking a negative look to Haliburton today, I do like getting more Hartenstein. I think that fits really well here. All right, 25% Hartenstein, 25% Bradley. Yes or no? Yeah, sure. I don't play whoever. I know that's not the answer you're looking for, but yeah, that's fine. I mean, Hartenstein's 20% owned. Tony Bradley's 4%. It's probably too much Tony Bradley, but it's also fine. It hasn't happened since Jerry West, I believe, like 50 years ago. It should have happened for LeBron in 2017. I don't remember which one it was. LeBron should have been the finals MVP one of the years they lost in 7. I can't remember which year it was. Obviously not the year they won. Either the year before that or was that the year before that one? I think it was the year before Durant got there. But my memory's dog shit. Let me tell you guys this one right now. I do not have a single share of Tyrese Haliburton today. 0. If Tyrese Haliburton is the reason that I don't make any money back today, I am cool with that for 2 reasons. 1, that just means he played well, and I want him to play and be healthy. It would be awesome if Tyrese Haliburton played 34 minutes and we didn't have to mention his calf at all. It would be awesome. It feels hard to believe that that's what we're getting from him. And at 10-6, you kind of need him to outscore at least 2 of SGA, J-Dub, and Siakam. That feels difficult. And that says nothing for an $8,800 Chet who can get him too. So as of right now, I am not playing Tyrese Haliburton. Keep in mind, right now we have him projected for 14% ownership. That number has some wiggle room, say wiggle room up. It's a really hard thing to model a guy whose health is a gigantic question mark, an industry that doesn't really have any confidence in projecting him. So keep in mind, he might be a little bit more owned than this. We shall see. We are 15 minutes in, which means we have 15 minutes left to go. Do not forget, we're live on Playback right now. Playback.tv/Stokastic. I'm live sharing OddsShopper. If you guys want to put in any bets, I see a bunch of baseball bets out there right now. I see a Cason Wallace assist prop out there right now. Caitlin Clark under 21.5 points. If you're a hater, you could bet on that one and fade it. But you can check out OddsShopper right now if you want, or at 8:30, that's where we're going to be to watch the entire game, or at least until it's over. And by over, I mean if OKC happens to be up by $1 billion, then I'm going to dip, because if they were at home, I'd probably watch for the celebration. It'll be a little bit more muted in Indy. I do expect Oklahoma City to win. I guess it's probably time to make the poll. And I'm going to go who wins, just because I think that's a more interesting question. And I kind of just want to know how many of you crazies are going to take the Pacers. Because it's going to be more than it should be, that's for sure. Chris Williams gifted 10 Stokastic subs on YouTube. Congratulations to everybody that's scooping up a YouTube membership. I always love to see it. TJ better not drop 18 again. I mean, 18 feels pretty unlikely, but he's going to likely have every opportunity to do it. Oh boy. Chat. I got to have a conversation with 40% of you guys. Yeah, like, trust me. I would love to watch a Game 7 Sunday night in OKC for all the marbles. Feels tough today, if I'm being honest. Let's refresh the ownership, because we got an update right at the beginning of the show that I didn't see. No real changes here. Nesmith is the 5th highest owned guy right now, just slightly edging out TJ McConnell. For all you FanDuel peeps, we'll pull that up quickly, because that is a slightly different look. So we've got SGA, a very different play on FanDuel in comparison to DraftKings. 49% owned in the MVP spot. He's going to be like 90% owned overall. Clearly looks great, but I think there are opportunities to pick up a decent chunk of value here. McConnell in the 3K range. Nesmith in the 3K range, Hartenstein at 2,600, Toppin at 3,600, Dort at 2,800. There's a lot of really interesting value in the low end. It strikes me as a slate on FanDuel where you probably want to leave a little money on the table. Why are Siakam's stats better than Haliburton for the year besides assists? I have no idea. I would never look at points, rebounds, and assists, which is what I assume you're looking at. That would be not super interesting. All right, so I'm about to run my final sim. And just for full disclosure, I am going to knock back Tyrese Haliburton slightly, just for myself. And I'm going to give an extra minute to McConnell, Nesmith, Mathurin, and I'll drop one additional on Toppin and Nembhard. So basically, I'm taking 5 minutes away from Haliburton and giving one more for Nembhard, McConnell, Nesmith, Toppin, and Mathurin. All of the additional guys. Because one, I just don't want to end up with Tyrese Haliburton. And two, if Tyrese Haliburton is compromised, these guys are going to play a little bit more. Now, our projections are taking this stuff into account. I want to be more extreme personally. So for right now, I'm kicking off my sim. If you guys have any questions, we have just under 10 minutes left to go. Get those questions in now. If they're 1v1s and 2v2s, head on over to stokastic.com and use the player compare tool. Let's see what we got here. Doug says, Mathurin is my most owned captain. I get it. I mean, the path there is really like Haliburton goes down quick and Mathurin takes 20 shots because he's the only guy that can create his own shot. I do think that if something happens to Haliburton and Mathurin starts to cook in any way, he's about to get Dort. And at that point, like, it's weird how the trickle down works, because at that point, then I start to become a little bit more interested in Nembhard. But if we're being honest, every single matchup sucks if Haliburton's not out there, because everybody on the Indiana Pacers will be guarded by someone that is a problem for them, no matter who we want to pick in that case. All right, lineups are done. Let's lock down my final exposures. Now, I don't expect much to have changed from the pre-lock run that I did, or from the pre-show run that I did, but you never know. I mostly just want to make sure that I don't have a disproportionate amount of Ben Shepherd. Now, as I say that, I'm sure he'll end up being like the dude you need, but I don't feel like I ever get that guy right, and I would prefer to not have him today. That usually results in him making every open three he sees. I'm going to go ahead and hope that he doesn't. All right, lineups are done. I'm going to paste these in as placeholders. Also done. Biggest fades. My biggest fade by a mile is Pascal Siakam. I am very happy with that. It will scare me for most of the day. I don't mind it. I don't have a single share of Tyrese Haliburton. I am light on Hartenstein. I don't like that. I am light on Dort. I don't like that. But you got to be light somewhere. And then I am slightly under the field, but not all that much, on Benedict Mathurin. The guys that I have a bunch of: TJ McConnell, Chet, SGA, a little bit of Tony Bradley, and some Jalen Williams. What I am going to do, because I have what I would say is slightly too much TJ McConnell and not enough Mathurin, I'm going to take the minute I boosted TJ from him and give it to Mathurin. And I think that will make me be still a little over on McConnell, but negate that loss of Mathurin. But yeah, right now, on the last run that I had, I have 13% of Pascal Siakam. He is currently projected for 50% ownership overall. My most exposed guy is clearly SGA, and it's still very much Chet as my second guy. But if you're building lineups today, you kind of want to go through it in your mind thinking, you know, if this lineup doesn't have Haliburton, if I'm not optimistic about Tyrese Haliburton, who are the guys that benefit the most from him being out? And I think those benefits come on both sides. I think there are Pacers benefits to it, and I think there are Oklahoma City benefits to it. What they end up being, your guess is as good as mine. All right, what did that end up doing? Okay, that gave me like a disproportionate amount of Benedict Mathurin and a giant reduction in TJ McConnell. So we're going to knock that one back slightly and bump McConnell back up slightly. 1 minute in either direction dramatically changed the amount of Benedict Mathurin and TJ McConnell that I had. That's how, like, when it comes to showdown, 1 fantasy point in projection could be the difference between being 20% over on somebody and being 20% under on somebody. That's how big the swings are here. OKC 109, Indy 93. That feels like a pretty realistic score. Brian, I have no idea if everybody's fading Haliburton. That's the weird part. We don't know what people are going to do. I'm guessing a lot of people take him on like building single lineups by hand type stuff. I'm excited. Don't forget, playback in 4 minutes. All right, let's see how that extra half minute either direction ends up shaking out here. My guess is now I have the right amount of Mathurin and the right amount of TJ. Unfortunately, it's going to cost me Hartenstein. If he's the guy that hurts me, that will bum me out because I've been team Hartenstein for most of this, but I feel like I'm just going to have to eat this one. Let's see what we ended up with. A bit over on Benedict Mathurin. Now I have less TJ McConnell. What sense does that make? All right, looks like I'm running it one more time. The balance between McConnell and Mathurin has been pretty tricky for me here. Chris Moscho says 0 Turner. That one would scare me a little bit because his opportunities have been there. Bradley only made 1 appearance in 1 game, hasn't he? Yes, that's because he was hurt. If the Pacers win, you needed Mathurin. My only caveat to that statement, John, would be assuming Haliburton isn't okay. Because there is a non-zero chance that Tyrese Haliburton is just good enough. And if that's the case, then I don't think Mathurin is as important. But I also am of the belief that Haliburton isn't okay. All right, this should be my final. Well, this is my final run one way or the other. What it ends up being, we're about to find out. And this is all totally, these adjustments are all totally based on Mathurin and TJ McConnell. All of the other stuff that I've said so far is not changing in this conversation. It's so close. I am going to try to run it one last time, but I don't think I'm going to get this in as quickly as one would hope. But let's see. Final results of the poll. 67% OKC, 33% Indy. That right now is basically the exact money line breakdown for where this game is. So kudos, chat. You guys hit the number on the dot. 67, 2 to 1. OKC is like the sort of right number. We have 2 minutes to go for what is likely a 67% chance that this is the final NBA live before lock of the year. But don't worry, folks. In 4 months, the NBA is back. We will be here again in October. I don't think we're going to be here Sunday, but man, we are going to have some fun if we are. If you do not have your lineups in yet, you are waiting, like me, too long to get your stuff in. So do it now if you can. Seems like what I have is what's going in. I have too much TJ McConnell right now. I'm going to be very honest about that. I tried to make it go down. It didn't. We're going with it. But I'm neutral on Benedict Mathurin. Come on, Tej. Do it one more time. You guys know me. I'm the TJ McConnell whisperer. Nobody likes playing TJ McConnell more than me. And the lineups are now in. 45 seconds to go on what is likely the final slate of the NBA season. Guys, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me every night. Since, playoffs started 2 months ago, that feels like a different season. Regular season basketball feels like it was years ago. And now we are close to the end of the season. Do we see the Oklahoma City Thunder become the NBA champions tonight? We're about to find out. Head to playback.tv/Stokastic. I will be there basically right now to watch this game. If you guys want to watch it with me, let's come hang out. It is now 8:30. We are locked. YouTube. I'll see you guys later. Playback.